All right, we are going to start our introduction to probability with some basic vocabulary terms that we're going to be using. So probability is a mathematical description of randomness or uncertainty. It's a way to quantify or measure uncertainty. It's also thought of as the chance or unlikelihood that something will happen. In probability, we have experiments. These are probability experiments, and those are situations involving chance or probability that lead to results. And then we have outcomes of experiments. These are the results of a single trial of a probability experiment. Events in probability are one or more outcomes of an experiment. The sample space is the collection of all outcomes for an experiment. And then this P parentheses A is read as the probability that A occurs or probability of A, and A represents an event of interest. So an example might be we're doing an experiment where we're rolling a dice. So our outcomes would be the number that we roll. The event would be whatever it is that we're interested in. So maybe we're interested in rolling an even number. The sample space would be the numbers that we could possibly get. So that would be the numbers 1 through 6. And then if we're interested in the probability of rolling an even number, we would write that as probability of even. So we have two rules for probability. These are the two most important rules regarding probability that we need to remember for the rest of the course. The first rule is that all probabilities are between 0 and 1, or 0% and 100%. We can express probabilities as decimals or percentages. If something is impossible, then it has a probability of 0. And if something is certain, it has a probability of 1. And then everything else is in between. So all of the answers when you're looking for a probability are going to be between 0 and 1. The second most important rule of probability is that all the probabilities for an experiment will sum to 1. So if I find all the probabilities of rolling the different numbers on a dice, and I add those probabilities together, those probabilities will add to 1. If I look at all the probabilities for flipping coins, and I have a bunch of different coins that I'm flipping, and I'm looking at getting ahead on the coin flip, all of those probabilities have to sum to 1. If I'm looking at the different colors that I could get from a bag of M&Ms, the different probabilities for each color have to sum to 1. So these are the two most important rules that we have for probability. The probabilities are always going to be between 0 and 1, and then the probabilities for an experiment have to sum to 1. So those are some basics as we move into probability.